Okay, it's May 1st, 5 o'clock, and we're opening the Shoreline Fire Department Regional Fire Authority Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Please join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I just realized that I was actually supposed to run this meeting.
I can turn it over to you right now.
So, which coincidentally is actually the first meeting I've ever run. But because this is a new RFA, our first order of business, well, actually, I'm sorry, we need to do public comment first. Sorry, my bad. Roll. See, there you go. Roll call.
That's a new one though.
Yeah. Commissioner Heveland. Here. Commissioner Webster. Here. Commissioner Harris. Present. Commissioner Fisher.
In spirit only.
Commissioner Sullivan.
Here.
And I believe we have Commissioner Woolham.
Here.
Commissioner Admin.
Here.
And Commissioner Pratt.
Present.
Thank you. And I believe, as you all know, Commissioner Callahan will not be here.
And sorry, Byers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he might be running late. He said trying to connect these and we're coming in.
Okay.
So he
Okay.
might be ready.
So Commissioner Byers, he's excused?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know
Did he
if
reach out to you?
He did email me to say that he may be late or not.
Okay, we'll call it excused then.
Okay.
So, okay, I'm sorry about this. Public comment. We don't have any public. Okay, now we'll get to the election. Because this is a new organization in RFA, we need to establish who our chair and vice chair are. You have some language in your packet on the election of the chair and the vice chair. So I will now open it up for nominations for chair. Are there any nominations? And this is open to Lisa, Eric, and Josh as well to nominate. So.
I'll nominate Kim Fisher.
You need a second for that?
Yeah, nobody else is stepping up saying anything, so sure.
Is there a
And
second?
I'm sorry, did you second?
I agree.
Okay, so we have a second. Any other nominations for chair? Any other nominations for chair? Okay, we'll take a vote for the chair. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Congratulations. I will now open up the nominations for the vice chair. Are there any nominations for vice chair?
I would like to nominate Tyler Byers.
I'll second that nomination.
Okay. He's not here to. That's what you get for not being here. Okay. Any other nominations for vice chair? Any other nominations for vice chair? Okay, we'll take a vote, assuming that he accepts this, because he's not here.
He has no choice. We voted him in.
Okay.
He's not here.
Well, you're the chair, so we can follow that lead.
You get to call.
All those in favor of Commissioner Byers as our vice chair, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Congratulations to Commissioner Byers. And now I hand it over to our chair, Commissioner Fisher.
Chief, is there any consideration of the agenda?
Yes, there is. I need to remove Resolution 2515 from a motion to a discussion.
Okay. Anything else?
Don't believe so.
Alright, moving on, there is no past minutes. There's no correspondence, no warrants, so do we have commissioner report? Commissioner Heflin, anything?
Trying to find it.
Oh, you're trying to find, oh,
Found it in here yet.
okay.
Believe me.
There's,
We move on and come back to you, Rod.
sure.
Commissioner Webster, do you have anything you want me to
No,
report?
the only thing I was checking on was the generator at Station 57. It's underway. So it's still.
I think that was in district activity.
Yeah,
report.
probably was.
Okay, awesome. Commissioner Harris,
Nothing to report.
Commissioner Sullivan.
Nothing to report.
Josh's phone, do you have any thing you'd like to report?
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Admin,
Nothing to report.
Commissioner Willem is supposed to be on vacation.
Nothing to report.
Except for a big smile.
She shouldn't be smiling.
Got a haircut.
Oh. Let's move on to district activity report then. Unless is there a strategic plan discussion?
No.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to skip.
No, it's totally fine.
Okay, all right. Let's start with Chief Cowan's report. Anything for Chief Cowan? Any questions, comments, concerns? Let's move on to Chief Hookstein's report. Anything for Chief Hookstein? Nothing? I see Andrew Hanson.
Yeah.
Out in the parking lot the other day, with big smiles, and said you guys are getting a lot done. He said it's been put on the back burner for a
It's been
while.
a big help to me, for sure, yeah, taking a lot of weight off my shoulders and taking a lot of stuff off my plate to run with, so it's been good.
Awesome to hear.
There's no district activity report from Chief Holmes because he was on vacation.
He's still on vacation.
I'm guessing he's actually probably doing some work.
We had a generator meeting about the generator with the contractor, and that's moving forward.
Yeah, myself, Anders, Ryan, and Patrick met with the contractor and their team this week, for the Station 57 generator. They were looking for final approval of the spec of the generator. We reviewed that. Patrick had just a couple of questions that they are confirming before the order is placed. The contractor is also working with the city of Lake Forest Park. Where the desired location of the generator to be placed is within the a little bit too close to the property lines within the setback. So we were looking at alternative locations for applying for a variance and talking about how we could get that through the city. They're being supportive of our process. That's one issue we're dealing with. The second issue is just trying to deaden the sound of the generators, and we're working with the city on that. We're building the generator with the maximum amount of soundproofing on the generator, but because it's within the setback, it creates a couple little other pieces that would also go into that variance. So, but everything is on track. We should have those last few details wrapped up and the order placed this next week, and then we just wait a few months for that thing to arrive. I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but I'm excited that we're making great progress on it, and I've got a good team of people helping with that. Anders is leading that project, taking that off my plate, so I don't need to run with that. So.
So,
There is not anything else for Chief Oakstein. We'll move on to new business because we don't have any old business.
Thank you. Before we get into this, because we have a bunch of things, to take care of tonight, business related resolutions and motions, et cetera. I really want to thank staff for all the work that went into this, especially, besides the executive staff, but especially Beatrice and Rachel, who really spent a lot of time trying to get this together, and I think did a phenomenal job considering all the moving parts to all of these motions and resolutions and all that. We've looked at it a number of times, but we get bored on some of these things, so hopefully there isn't any glaring errors or anything like that. But I really want to give a shout out and kudos to the staff, and especially Rachel and Beatrice. So on the first thing that we need to, we already started talking about that in our district meeting, but the monthly schedules, the plan at this point, but this is pending, one of the resolutions here, our first resolution, 2501, but the plan for the districts meetings, and that's how I'm going to refer to these things. Once we go further down the road, it'll just be the department, and we won't have to separate these out as much, at least that's my hope. But we have the 2 fire districts in the RFA, and we need to have the fire districts have meetings. And so the plan is to have those district meetings before the RFA meeting and coincide with the location. I have suggested or proposed to the board to do the rest of the meetings for this year and flip-flop from the first to the third Thursdays between 61 and 51, and then coincide those meetings with the district meetings 15 minutes before or whatever we determine. However, we can't set those schedules until we've established the RFA meetings. So I just wanted to put that out there and make sure that you all understood this. I will be going to the North Shore Board, the district, at our meeting on next Tuesday, and that will be one of the things that we will establish is the meeting schedule for the rest of the year. And then my proposal will also be to, with the chair's approval, set the next meeting for the Shoreline Fire District before that RFA meeting on the 15th. But that's business for the districts. I just want to give you guys an update as to where some of the complications arise with this. Things will smooth out after we get through these first few meetings. Any questions or discussion on that?
So do you want us to go ahead and vote on the RFA dates?
Not yet.
Not
That'll be the next thing that we need to do.
Okay.
Hey, Chief,
Yes.
I have a question. I guess my question is, it sounds like we're waiting to establish the fire district meeting schedule, and then we can establish the RFA meeting schedule. Is that correct?
Actually, the other way around. We need to establish the RFA meetings, and then we'll be able to establish the district meetings.
Okay, so I guess my question is that something that because we're discussing it all now, do we need to have separate meetings to discuss that, or do we have sufficient, and I guess also, I guess what we have to decide, since this is not, I'm trying to decide if we ask the question, if it was possible that we could just resolve it right now at this meeting, but I guess we actually need to conduct the district business still in the district meeting, which is establishing the schedule before we can do this. So maybe my hope that we could just do it all now is
Well,
founded.
It was the cleanest, I think legally, and Matt Paxton can weigh in on this, but we felt that that was district business and needed to be done at a district meeting. And since we have a meeting coming up for North Shore for District 16 this next Tuesday, we could establish the schedule at that time. The Shorelines District next regularly meeting is the third Thursday, it's the 15th anyway. So if we just do it before the RFA meeting, we can take care of that business at that time. But I don't know, Matt, I'm assuming that we need to separate out RFA business and district business, but it's kind of complicated because all the players are here. So, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think that that's correct, Chief, that you should treat them as separate meetings. We've discussed having the North Shore and Shoreline meetings occur 15 minutes before. Theoretically, they could be noted as concurrent meetings, meaning, just like when you join another board, for example, the Water District, you might have a concurrent meeting. You could theoretically do that with the fire districts as well, if you were planning to conduct business for both boards at the same time, but I don't think that type of notice was provided for this meeting.
Okay, thank you. I think we'll stick with the plan then and have, our district meetings and establish the schedule after tonight, which will set the schedule for the RFA tonight.
Okay, sounds fine. I thought I saw
No,
that for some efficiency.
It's a good question. There's a lot of these types of things that we're trying to work our way through. And a lot of this will this will start settling out after the first few meetings.
So we're not establishing the RFA meetings tonight.
Well, we will, resolution 2501.
Okay, that's the one I'm looking at right now.
Okay, well, let's do it. So the first bullet item was what I was talking about. The second bullet item, I think we should actually move that to after 2501. Because we do have a conflict with the June 5th meeting, but why don't we establish 2501 and then come back to the June 5th conflict?
Okay, perfect. Okay. So we have in front of us resolution 2501, which establishes the day and time of our RFA meetings. It looks like we've got a couple choices of times here.
We wrote 3 of them, first and third Thursday, starting at 5, 5:30, and 6. We did this because I heard some feedback from our district meetings about, 5 o'clock might be a difficult time for some people. 5:30 or 6 might be better. This is a board decision, but we prepared 3 different resolutions for you so that if whatever you guys choose, we can sign that one.
Well, let's start off then with the 5 o'clock time. Is there people that have an issue with the RFA starting at 5 p.m.?
Commissioner Fisher,
Yes.
this is Commissioner Wallem, and we've got 2 of our commissioners that have a difficult time making that 5 o'clock mark. One of them is on day shift. So I think in general that the North Shore portion of the RFA board would prefer a little bit later start, either the 5:30 or the 6.
Okay.
I prefer a little later start.
Would 5:30 work for everybody? Barb, you're not saying that.
5:30 works.
Okay, I know Barb gets up at 3 in the morning to go to work, so yeah, let's try to kind of be cognizant of her schedule too. Would 5:30 work for everybody?
I think
In your head, yes. Eric, Josh?
Yeah. So I was one of the ones that potentially had an issue with the time, and I think 5:30 would be fine. I think as it turns out, I have a little more flexibility in my schedule than I thought. Anyways, I wonder if I don't know if we have considered other people that we want to schedule for. Like, I guess essentially we have the members of the public, we have the commission, the board, and then we have staff members. So maybe 5:30 is a good option to kind of meet the best for all of those. 5:30 works for me.
We have a staff member here, can we ask her?
I think a good compromise.
She's
Is that
saying,
the RFA meeting starting at
Yes.
5:30, and that means then the NSFD and the SFD would be at 5:15?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Well, you have to be established, but that's the thought. That's the idea.
That would, where I get up at 5:40 too, that would work.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's a good, I feel like that's a decent compromise for
Yeah.
some admin staff.
yes, we
So I
will
so
need a
moved
motion
that
then.
we do the 5:30.
Okay, Commissioner Webster,
Sending your own version
do we have a second?
I'll second.
Barb. The 5:30 PM. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Webster and a second by Commissioner Sullivan for the meeting to start, our RFA meeting to start on Thursdays, first and third Thursdays of the month at 5:30 PM. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Aye.
You're approving a resolution though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
25.
So you want to say the resolution?
Oh,
number.
sorry,
Read your
sorry.
motion, yeah.
Moving to authorize the Board of Commissioners of Shoreline Fire Department RFA to approve and sign Resolution 2501 establishing regular meeting schedule for first and third Thursday at 5:30 PM. Okay. And if anybody opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you. I think now would be a good time to maybe go back to the June 5th conference.
Okay, June 5th, we have, well, some projected agenda, but we have a conflict in our first meeting of the month, first Thursday of the month. A lot of us are going to Lake Chelan for a conference, and we leave usually Thursday morning-ish. So we will not be in attendance unless we do it Zoom. Is there a,
Well, it would be, isn't there a listener thing?
No.
Is that,
not that I know of. Is there a minimum, Mr. Passitt, is there a minimum that have to, of commissioners that have to be present? Or,
Physically?
yeah, physically?
No, none of the commissioners need to be physically present. The quorum is 6, so 6 would need to be online.
So, we may, I don't know, Zoom? I know Barb might have a problem with that because she works and isn't gonna get
I
to.
think I'm gonna grab it that day off. Well, I could do it in the car. I could do it in the car.
Or are you gonna be,
Or I'm
you
gonna
actually
be-
be driving at that time?
Yeah.
That's why I was thinking maybe it wouldn't be such a good idea after I
I
said
mean,
it.
it probably could be on the car, it could be on the phone.
Isn't it easier to just move it to the 12th?
It could be.
I mean,
I just threw that out as an
I
option.
think with so much business, I think we should move it to the 12th.
To the
Yeah,
12th.
that's true.
Is that a Monday?
No,
No,
Thursday,
that's-
just a week later. Just a week, next week.
Yeah.
Lisa, Eric, Josh, any problem with, did we lose Josh? We lost Josh. Oh, here he comes. He's limping.
Oh, he's here.
He's limping.
Oh,
June.
Andres, can you let him in?
So it doesn't work
Yeah, it works, I got it.
I'm
This is-
available on the 12th.
on the 12th. Okay, we're waiting.
Yeah.
Josh just arrived, so I'm kind of waiting for Josh to come in.
Okay, this is Eric Admin. I'm available on the 12th as well.
Thanks, Eric. You do. Okay. Eric's good with it. Okay.
I think it makes more sense.
Eric and Lisa are okay with it.
Yeah. Lisa and Eric are okay with that. I was kind of waiting
Eric,
for Josh.
sorry.
Matt Paxton mentioned the quorum of 6. Does that change? Does the board down to 9 people right now?
It shouldn't
it's still a vacancy. We will have, and I'm actually planning on talking about that at the May 15th meeting, of filling the vacancy. It depends on,
We will need to move the SFB district meeting as well, and we'll have to discuss that later.
so we'll talk about that at our May 15th meeting. Because we'll have to, yeah, you're right.
I have a question.
So you'll be starting corporate by.
Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
If the June 5th meeting is moved to the 12th, do we need another meeting a week later on the 19th, or should we move or cancel that meeting?
We typically have tried to keep the second meeting of the month intact, so we don't have to move 2 meetings, but that's up to the board.
Okay, that's fine. I just wasn't sure there'd be enough business a week later.
Past experience, when we've had to move our board meetings like this, it's quicker, but there's usually things to talk about.
I would suggest
Okay.
on the,
Well,
the 19th is Juneteenth. Yeah. We may want to move it. My recommendation would be to move to the 26th.
Yeah,
Just
I'm
to-
off on that day.
Okay.
I'm on holiday.
so we're moving the June 19th to the 26th.
So we'll move both meetings in June. First one to the 12th, the second one to the 26th.
At 5:30.
And then the district meetings at 5:15 will be moved at their.
Correct. Yeah.
I will be virtual that day.
Are those special meetings be considered special meetings?
No, it's just, Beatrice will send out something that says that we're detouring from our regular scheduled meeting and moving it to a different day.
So we'll do 12.
Okay, June 12th and June 26th.
We may, depending on what business is still needing to be conducted for the district meetings, those might be meetings that one or both might be canceled as well, depending on what business we have to take care of. So we do need to, we are gonna schedule meetings, district meetings for every month, but we don't have to have them every month.
So the Thursday after the 26th is July 3rd. And then
Moving right along, let's just.
one or the other, they're gonna be
Here.
back to back.
That'll be a Zoom meeting for me.
Are we moving that to the 10th?
I mean, I don't know.
Let's deal with that.
Doesn't have any.
Closer to July? Okay, we beat those schedules up enough now. Can we move on to resolution 2, 2502?
Correct.
Okay.
So this is for, each of the districts have already approved the transferring of the assets, but the RFA also has to accept the assets.
No brainer. I move to authorize the Board of Commissioners, Shoreline Fire Department, RFA, to approve and sign 2502, accepting the assets and the liabilities.
We have a motion by Commissioner Tevlin. Do we have a second?
Second.
By Commissioner-
Gotta have one.
Any further discussions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Yeah, we have 9 days.
Then we have what?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, resolution 2503, adopting policies.
So I felt that this one might prompt a little bit of discussion, but this is a kind of a living document. It's the guiding handbook for the commissioners. If there's, I didn't get back any feedback back especially from like the North Shore Commissioners, because this might be a little bit different than what you're used to. But we do need to establish a policies and procedures for the board. And so I would like to have this adopted now, but also I just want to recognize and encourage that if there's changes that want to be made in the future, we can make these changes. So
Dynamic.
it is, but I just want to be sensitive and not say that you're just trying to, assert that this is, it's cast in stone or anything like that.
Well, we usually try to meet once a year, go over our commissioner budget before budget season, and about that time, go over the handbook too, so if there's any changes that we need to make, so. Any questions, concerns, comments? Josh?
Chief, I haven't had an opportunity to compare and contrast the two side by side, see if there's any substantive differences. Do you know of anything significant that could be a point of contention, or that could be like operationally, like what's happening here?
That's definitely a great question, and I have also not done a side-by-side comparison. I can try and do that and report back at the next meeting, and try and identify any substantive differences. It's just what this one is what I've known.
Yeah.
So I apologize, I don't know the differences.
I think I'm comfortable with the way that Charlotte's been operating, as long as we have the opportunity in the future to do an assessment.
Yeah.
Suggest changes.
It takes a vote to make changes.
Basically, it's just changing shoreline board of commissioners to the government board, a lot of the verbiage in there. And then it spells out, instead of having to ask permission every time you want to go to a conference, it spells out the majority of the conferences that we go to are already approved. All you have to do is just put it in form.
I will add that this is one of the documents that Brian Stern has reviewed as well and added some suggested modifications. So that does reflect legal review.
But again, usually in August or September, we try to get together and say, okay, do we need to change? Do we need to increase, decrease our budget? No. That's okay with everybody?
It actually requires us to get together in that document.
Yes, it does. Okay, what resolution are we?
2503.
Oh, okay, not the board. Okay. So, with that said, if there's no further comments or questions, is there a motion to approve resolution 2503?
I move to authorize the Board of Commissioners of the Shoreline Fire Department RFA to approve and sign 25-03, establishing policies and procedures.
The motion by Commissioner Harris, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Sullivan. Say Commissioner Sullivan. There's no further questions or comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Moving on to resolution 2504, accepting employment obligations.
So and all of the personnel had already come over to the Shoreline Fire Department, except for the board and the part-time, board secretary. However, again, as an RFA is a new entity and a new employer, we have to accept all of the employment and the employees.
Questions, comments? Do we have a motion?
I'll move to authorize the Board of Commissioners of the Shoreline Fire Department RFA to approve and sign 2504, accepting employment obligations.
Motion by Commissioner Havlin. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Webster.
Seconded by Commissioner Webster. Further comments or questions? All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Resolution 2505.
So this is establishing a point of contact, an agent for the RFA in case there are legal claims or such against the department. I will point out, if you look at the resolution, it's in a different format, and that's specific to how we have to record it at the county level.
Yeah.
This would be named, I'm sorry, this would be named our administrative director, Mr. Hara.
Okay, I was just gonna say. Comments, questions, concerns?
Chief, does it make sense to name a specific person rather than a position?
That's a great question. I would prefer to name it by position, but unfortunately, every time we change this, we have to re-record it, so it's not gonna matter. Assigning it to, say, the administrative director, we have to name the person, I believe, unless I'm understanding this incorrectly.
So if you just say administrative director and somebody else, I don't know what the requirement, but if somebody else falls into that role, then I would see why you have to record it again, because it's
I
administrative.
thought it had to be specific to the person.
I don't know.
Would that be that was in question?
Mr. Paxton, do you have?
Yeah, I've always seen it listed as a specific person, and I believe that's for county recording purposes.
Yeah, in fact, actually, on the resolution.
Resolution,
It does have a name on it.
I think we'll have, she's not leaving for, another 17 years anyway, so.
Well, we're signing the paper, to keep her here for 17 years. Any further questions or comments?
Yeah, we're approving the resolution, and the resolution states both of us.
Yes, yes.
They can't drive. They can't get out of it.
We have a motion.
I would move to authorize the Board of Commissioners of the Shoreline Fire Department RFA to approve and sign 25-05 appointment of agent to receive claims.
It's been moved by, motion by Commissioner Harris.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Sullivan. There's no further questions or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Nice show.
We have resolution 2506, appointing secretary to the board.
Similar to naming the agent, we need to appoint the secretary to the board, which again will be Wilfus Hart.
Comments, questions, concerns?
Has to be, right under, yeah, Proctor.
Yeah, but gotta pass this first, and then we'll do it.
May just swear out. Okay, do we have a motion?
I move that we authorize the Board of Commissioners to sign resolution 25-06, appointing both of
Sahara.
as the secretary to the Shoreline Fire Department, Regional Fire Authority Board of Commissioners.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Wexler. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Harris. There's no further questions or comments. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Passed unanimously.
So now we need to do an oath, swearing in. I believe do you have language in front of you? If not, it's,
Oh, I get to do it?
yeah. You're the chair.
Wait a minute, I don't want to be chair.
Do you have it in your packet? If not, it's, okay, there you go.
No, I'm fine. Hey, the best guy. Oh. Take a picture.
I state your name. I, Opa Casey Howard. Being duly appointed secretary of the Board of Commissioners, Shoreline Fire Department, Regional Fire Authority. Being duly appointed secretary to the Board of Commissioners of Shoreline Fire Department, Regional Fire Authority. By resolution on May 1st of 2025. By resolution on May 1st, 2025, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially perform the duties of Secretary to the Board of Commissioners for the Shoreline Fire Department, Regional Fire Authority. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially perform the duties of Secretary to the Board of Commissioners of Shoreline Fire Department, Regional Fire Authority, as prescribed by law to the best of my ability, and I will support and maintain the laws and the Constitution of the State of Washington and the United States. As prescribed by law and the best of my ability, and that I will support and maintain the laws and Constitution of the State of Washington and the United States. Chief, we have copies here. Do we have anything other than this for both of you to sign?
Yes, the one with the orange caps
Okay.
should be coming around. Because it's got to get notarized as well.
Yeah, and I think it's just, I can't remember who just signs it, it's a very simple form, I think Wilbur just signs it, this one I sign, and then it gets notarized.
I was gonna say, are you gonna notarize your own? Okay, resolution 2507, authorizing the use of e-signatures.
Okay, so I'm going to read you a little bit of the governance on this. The Shoreline North Shore Fire Department or districts have in place resolutions currently for the use of electronic signatures that are now outdated and include language referencing COVID. But due to the continued need for video conferencing and offsite attendance, this department encourages the use of electronic transactions and recognizes electronic signatures as legally binding and equivalent in force and effect as a wet signature. You have before you the governing board RFA resolution 2507 authorizing the use of electronic signatures and the signature consent forms, which are in here, in which your e-signatures have been affixed and ready for your approval. Resolution 2507 is limited to only records that have been approved at a formal meeting of the governing board. Once the resolution has been approved, pass the resolution and the consent forms for your signatures, please print your name and sign and date the consent forms. Look like this. Okay. What was that? For commissioners attending offsite, so for Eric, Lisa, Beatrice can email you the consent forms to print, sign, date, and email them back by the end of Friday, if that's possible, so there's no delay in implementing the resolution presented at the meeting. If you have any concerns or questions or issues with that, please work with Beatrice. So there you go.
Yeah, I won't be able to do it by Friday. I'm off site and won't be able to print and do that type of thing.
That's actually okay because we have 6, so if you can just do it as soon as you can.
Well, that's true, we have 6, so yeah, we're okay. We were a little concerned about not having a quorum, and having at least 6 signatures, so.
So is this the one we?
No, he's passing around.
Okay. But, so the ones that we signed?
Yes, that what he's passing you, yes.
So for your consideration.
All right,
So pass it.
any other comments or questions?
But I'm gonna move to authorize the Board of Commissioners of the Shoreline Fire Department RFA to approve and sign 2507 Shoreline RFA authorizing the use of electronic signatures.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Heveland. Do we have a second?
I second it, Commissioner Webster.
Commissioner Webster. All in favor? Opposed? Passes unanimously.
So as it's going around, if you have any questions about the signature sheets or anything like that, Beatrice. And thanks for Beatrice for helping me with the information.
Okay, next up, Resolution 2508, Rules of Procedure for the Governing Board and the RFA. Just do that.
Oh, I'm sorry, actually, I got them mixed up. The one earlier was for policies, this one's for the handbook.
I don't know what you going around. Some of these already have names in.
Yes, but you need to put your name, you need to put your print and sign date next to yours.
Oh, I have, we got ours in there, okay. I did, sorry.
So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Let's take the resolution off.
So who won this? Lisa. This one. Will go out.
They're all
Did you
together.
find yours yet? Well, there's a recognize.
Lots of sign it.
Oh, excellent. Hard date to remember.
And I'll just fill in your name up there. I can pass these as well.
Okay. There we go. Continue.
So you got yours, Rick Scott Davis. Is that it?
The resolution. Thank you.
How's your?
I think I saw it. Actually read this, I think. We all have. Thank you. Oh, so you print, sign, and then. You have Barbara and Kim's. I can't tell which ones are.
That's,
I don't-
yeah.
I don't know their
I
signatures.
know.
You know their
Yeah.
signatures, I don't. I made a protest. Yeah. Well, I might be keeping you out of trouble then. Did I keep you out of trouble?
No, that I went to a protest.
Oh. So that's.
My wife. Absolutely.
It's the resolution.
Who is this? Rod, is that you?
No, it's not, no.
I signed mine already. I don't know who that is, right? I don't recognize the signature.
Okay, I'll look through this and then.
You have all of ours, right? So that's for me.
So, since we approved the rules of procedure out of order, do we go back to the policies, chief?
I misspoke. I would offer up that if there's any more discussion, then we can go back and revisit the resolution 2503. Because I misspoke. Those are about the department's policies, not rules of procedure. The one that's in front of you now, 2508, is the rules and procedures that I was talking about earlier. I apologize.
Okay. And we
So
already approved those.
we've already approved it, so I would suggest that if there's any further discussion about 2503 adopting the policies, then we can revisit that resolution, so.
Okay. We have Commissioner Harris and Commissioner Sullivan that approved,
They made the motion.
Yeah, or that made the motion for the handbook.
Correct.
Nobody made the motion for the policies yet.
Well, they made the motion on that resolution, which was the policies, so.
Yeah.
So we're fine with dropping the resolution, but the problem was that I verbally talked about
All
the,
right,
so
okay, so,
is there any, I would offer up, is there any concerns about resolution 2503 and adopting the policies of the fire? Okay, sorry about that.
That's
I
okay.
misspoke.
Okay, so moving on to resolution 2509.
We're not 2508, rules and procedures.
That's where I'm confused. Okay, rules and procedures, that was our handbook.
This is the handbook.
Yes,
Yeah,
so we need to approve that.
yes, all the verbiage change.
All right. So if we need to rehash questions, we can do that. If not, let's move on. And do we have a motion?
I would move to authorize the Shoreline Fire Department Governing Board approve resolution 25-08, Rules of Procedure Governing Board, and the Regional Fire Authority Rules of Procedure for the RFA Governing Board.
And we have a motion by Commissioner Harris. Do we have a second?
I second it. Commissioner Webster.
Commissioner Webster. There's no further comment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Sorry about that.
To interject for a moment, I just want to confirm, because I'm learning everyone's names and who's here, who's not, and all of that. So, Commissioner Pratt, right, you came late,
Yes.
okay, and so but you let me know via email. I actually never heard from Byers, and he's not on, right?
Oh,
So we've been missing somebody.
Commissioner Byers reached out to me yesterday afternoon or this morning, saying that he would be able to be here, asked if I would be willing to chair unless Commissioner Fisher wanted to do it as the vice chair for North Shore. So
so he was interested in vice chair?
no, he reached out to me, said he wasn't going to be able to be here, was asking if I would fill in for him and chair the meeting if Commissioner Fisher didn't want to.
Oh, okay.
Sure. I don't think that he recognized that we we're going to be electing new officials.
Well, you might want to pass on to him that he's been elected.
So,
He wasn't here, so he got voted.
so I think you can leave it, Beatrice, as excused because he did reach out to Josh.
Okay,
So,
okay, thank you.
sorry, we should have probably done introductions.
Okay, back to appointing an auditing officer. The resolution 2509.
So similar to some of the other motions that we've had from us, we need to appoint an auditing officers. This has to do with approving the vouchers and so forth. You'll see in the resolution allowing for fire chief deputies and administrative director.
And it spells out
Continue
both and Rachel. Chief Forms, Chief Wilkestein.
Should Rachel's name be on the list below for a signature?
Who?
Rachel?
So she was not put on that, that's how it was before, and so it's just the executive team, yeah. But you will get the commissioners, so there's that form will be coming around for all of you to sign.
And there's two different pages because they didn't have a page long enough for.
Yes.
Yeah. Not that here. It's this. This is the front.
Has everybody had a chance to read through this and understand it? Comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
I move that we authorize the Board of Commissioners to approve Resolution 25-09, Shoreline Fire Department Regional Fire Authority 20 auditing.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Webster, seconded by Commissioner Evelyn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So
This is the resolution.
we're moving right on.
This is the signature. page.
Resolution 25-10, Shoreline Fire Department establishing funds with King County.
Okay. So what's coming around for 2509 is the resolution and the signature page. So just yet again, you have two different areas to sign. Moving on to 2510, we need to establish the funds with the county. That needs to be done by resolution. Rachel and I have been working on this. The funds that are listed there are the ones that we will have in the RFA. That is, we're not dissolving any of the funds in the districts for now until we reconcile them. Maybe we'll clean up some funds at a later date. But we need to establish and direct the county to establish these funds so we can operate the RFA.
Comments, questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
I would move to authorize the Board of Commissioners to sign Resolution 20-10 and authorize the fire chief to direct King County to establish new accounting funds for the RFA.
Motion by Commissioner Harris, do you have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Sullivan. There's no further comment or questions. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Have in front of us next is 25, resolution 2511.
Actually, first, I'd like to do a motion for the transfer of funds. What's that?
Did we just do that?
No, that was establishing the funds.
Oh, thank you.
Now we want to put money in them.
Okay.
Now we want to put some money in it.
All right.
Yes, that's exactly right.
We built the bank, now we want to fill
It's okay, we're over halfway done.
Yeah.
So, okay, so what we're doing here is, and we're gonna have a discussion about the budget at the end here. But what we're doing is, what's shown in the resolution is transferring the funds out of the district's funds into the RFA fund that the resolution you just passed will be establishing. We will be leaving some money in the district funds so that we can continue to operate while we establish the accounts with the county and get the budget and everything resolved. And then once everything's reconciled at the district level, a lot of the funds will either be, those accounts will be zeroed out. Some of them will be left, but that'll be a future action down the road. So what you have in front of you is, and you can see there from Shoreline, from North Shore, like for example, on the expense fund, the 5 million each, so we'll have 10 million in the RFA, 1 million each on the capital, et cetera. The reserve donation and fire benefit fee funds should end up with a zero balance after this transfer, because those do not need to have any funds left in them. So whatever is in those funds, and this is an approximate, because there might be some changes to these, but we don't expect, these to change really. So any question, this is to, again, to Ron's point, put money into the funds so that we can operate later this month. You've already authorized the transfer of funds in each of the districts by resolution 25-01. That's why you don't have a resolution on this here. You've already done by resolution transferring the funds. This motion is, and it's not even really necessary actually to do this motion, but I felt it was important to show transparency. And so that's why there's a motion in front of you.
Okay, we've established funds. Do we have a motion to transfer funds?
I move to authorize the Board of Commissioners to authorize the fire chief and assistant administrative director to make the transfers as identified at the.
A motion by Commissioner Sullivan. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Harris. Any further comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously.
There's nothing to sign.
We have resolution 2511.
We're going to combine 2511 and 2512 into one motion. They are two different resolutions for the deferred compensation and Department of Retirement Systems. These were forms, again, this is a different form than the normal resolutions because this is what's required by those two agencies. Sorry, establishing that our accounts with the state.
Do we have a motion?
I'll move to authorize the Board of Commissioners, Shoreline Fire Department RFA to approve and sign Resolution 2511, DRS Deferred Compensation Program, DCP, and Resolution 2512, authorizing participation in FERS.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Heflin,
Second.
second by Commissioner Webster. Comments, questions, concerns?
Triple
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I've got two.
Motion passes unanimously. Resolution 2513, establishing record retention and medical records officer.
So just similar to some of the other appointed or established points of contact and so forth, we are required to establish a record retention officer and medical records privacy officer. I do reference this one by the administrative director position because that is where it resides. So I don't believe I named ROFA specifically. I thought yep, I did to the administrative director.
Oh, there she is. Questions? Comments?
I move that we authorize the Shoreline Fire Department Governing Board to approve resolution 25-13, establishing record retention officer and medical records privacy officer.
And motion by Commissioner Webster. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Commissioner Harris. Comments or anything? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Resolution 2514, small public works and consultant.
This is one just authorizing us to be able to use like MRSC and other small works rosters and so forth.
Motion?
I move to authorize the Shoreline Fire Department Governing Board to approve resolution 25-14, small public works and consultant.
Motion by Commissioner Webster. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And second by Commissioner Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Okay, resolution 2515 has been tabled, but it's open for discussion.
Correct. Good news is that you don't need to sign anything more. what we had a little bit of a surprise this afternoon, that, and I think I shared with a couple of you already. I had established and defined, what a 2025 budget looks like, a 2025 budget for the RFA by moving some of the expenses that were identified in the North Shore expense budget, capital, and the benefits, and I, combined them and all this and that. However, I did it for all of 2025, but the RFA starts tonight on May 1st, not the whole year. And that wasn't, it was pointed out to us this afternoon. And so, what I need to do is I need to go back and modify the budget for just 8 months of the year, not for the full year, starting May 1st. And so what that means is I need to look at some of the expenses, some of the things that we've paid out already. Like, for example, in the early part of the year, we pay out like all of the annual fee for certain things. Some things are quarterly, some things, fluctuate from month to month. So I need to take a shot at what we've expended already and what we're projecting to expend for the rest of the year, and modify that for our May 15th meeting, which is why this is a discussion at this time. I don't believe that, the expense budget will be the difficult one, the capital and the benefits budget, those are fairly easy, but I do want to talk about the capital budget and 3 items that are what I call wants, not needs, and see if there's, because this will give me an opportunity to modify that budget if you don't like those projects. So before I get to that though, is there any questions at the high strategic level of what I need to do? I am planning on meeting with Rachel to work through this on Monday. Typically, I ask for if there's any interest from the commissioners. I usually have 1 or 2 commissioners. If you want to sit in on, I have a finance committee. I think, Rick, you've been part of it from the North Shore side. We've had different people from the Shoreline side be part of that. I was planning on meeting on Monday morning to work through this and get it prepared. If anybody wants to sit in on that meeting, then so be it.
What time now?
I haven't set the time. I was going to see if there's interest, and then, and if you're available, a time to.
After 10, I'd be available.
No more than 6, I mean, unless.
No, that's why I said 1 or 2.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
1 or 2. No quorum.
I will.
Okay. Kim, if
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock would
Yeah.
be fine. So I'm fairly open, and I believe that Rachel is as well. I'm hoping that this shouldn't be, too complicated. So I'd like to move to the capital budget that's in there. And I highlight, I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to look at my email and work through some of the notes and all that, but it looks like it's the last few pages of your pack, or sorry. Looks like this one. So I'd like to bring your attention to 3 different projects. The first is on that first page highlighted in the notes in orange, the refrigerator project at Station 57. We have budgeted $5,000 for that to replace the at least 1 or 2 of those, both of those refrigerators. However, that's a tight space. Most of our fires, or all of our fire stations, have 4 refrigerators because of 4 different shifts, a refrigerator freezer combination. Because of space at 57, there's only 2. So the ask is to replace those with a commercial refrigerator and combination refrigerator freezer, and then add an ice maker in an unused cabinet that's being in the kitchen. This will significantly increase the capacity for both the refrigeration and freezing without having to do any remodel work and structural to the station itself. So we're asking for another $10,000 for this line item that was previously approved. Obviously, this came out of the North Shore capital budget side.
So originally it was to be 5,000.
Originally it was 5, we're asking for 15. Why don't I go through the other 2 and then we can, okay.
Power requirements, just cabinet.
Yeah, this includes some of the labor and so forth too, and taxes. So, and again, this hats off to Anders and some of the work that he's been doing in helping out with support services.
You need approval of that tonight?
I would, if you guys feel comfortable, that would be great, because then I can finalize. This is one of those these three are question marks right now, pending, because these are wants, not needs. So if you can tell me tonight, then I can actually have on the May 15th an actual solid number.
Well, this has been discussed quite a bit at North Shore. It's definitely a need, and it's a better answer than what they originally thought. Cheaper, so I'm in favor of going along with this project.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be cheaper next year.
No, that's a good point.
No, moved.
No, yeah.
Do it quick.
Okay.
Hey,
well,
Chief.
Yes.
Hey, Chief. That was kind of I'm sort of behind the original budget ask on this one, just because of having reviewed that budget and having worked at the station when I was working for the fire department. So I think that what I've learned about this is, the need is because I don't think when the last remodel was done, people anticipated the staffing level at that station. They didn't really plan for that. And so it's kind of tight, and it's just a basic kind of, quality of life thing, not having a big hassle of where everybody can put their food compared to every other fire station. So I think that what Anders Hansen came up with and Chief Hoaxing was kind of a creative solution that would avoid having to do some remodel while still solving the problem. They would just get extra capacity out of a commercial style fridge freezer system. So that's my knowledge of the ask.
Thank you. But I'll go through the other two, and then you guys can tell me if you guys are okay with all three, or which ones you're not, or whatever. The next one is the dump trailer, still on that first page towards the bottom. It's about a $30,000 purchase. We are proposing, and there would be definitely benefit to the training consortium in the use of that, but it would also be a benefit specifically to us, the fire department side of it. So we are proposing splitting it 50-50 with pulling reserves out of the training consortium. This would be a pretty significant improvement in our ability to, because it would have the easiest way to describe it is it's like a chassis, a framework, which has two rolling bins, like what you would see like in more of a commercial application, that we can actually drop and leave at acquired structures. Matt and I talked about this, and even at the pancake feed, when we have a bunch of garbage and stuff, and it would lessen the cost of renting dumpsters, dumping those dumpsters, because then we can pick it back up and then go dump it ourselves. It's a hydraulic dump mechanism. There's also a flatbed that option that also attaches to this chassis. We're struggling right now with our tilt flatbed trailer in towing or in hauling the scissor lift and the forklift, because of the angle of the approach on the tilt bed. Especially if it's wet, it can't really get the traction to get up on it. So our proposal would be to buy the dump trailer, split the costs, pulling reserves out of the training consortium, and then also sell our current tilt trailer. I don't know how much value it has, probably maybe a few thousand. I have no idea. And there are plenty of reserves in the consortium that cover this.
We did not have any budget item for this.
This is a new budget item. This is something that kind of popped up, afterwards. So that's why I'm saying, I can justify all three of these things, but these are things that were not originally budgeted for, which is why I'm bringing it to your attention.
We got anything to tow this thing with?
Yeah, it's the same trucks that we use for towing the flatbed that we have now, or the trailer that we have now.
It's pretty heavy.
20,000.
The training trucks and some torque services trucks.
And then the last one, if you turn the page, 2 pages, last page, the very last page, It's the electrical vehicle charging stations at 57, 64, and 65. This is something that's in our long-term vision to add charging stations at all of our stations. We have 3 so far. But the reason why this is popping up now is that there's a Seattle City Light grant that will cover half the cost for as long as the funds are available. So we thought we might want to jump on it now and be able to get some grant funding and split the cost. So the 75,000 is an estimate for the entire project, 25,000 a station. So if we were able to get the grant and access, if we can jump on this, then we would potentially get the 37.5-ish back.
Station 51 already have electrical.
Station 51, yes. So 51, 63, and 61.
Already have.
Yes.
Charging stations, okay.
Again, this is a long-term vision. And actually, honestly, we also have a mandate from the state to go green. So some of the, and they're starting to crack down on that. The variances and the leniency that we had in the past is really not there anymore. So it is something that we have to look at for all of our staff vehicles, and at some point probably our 8 cars, who knows, maybe fires at some point, but that wouldn't be charged like these, you know, but it is something that we have to look at. So any thoughts on these 3 requests?
Chief, I had a question for you about the electrical charging. With the grant, is that still for our exclusive use, or do we have to open up that charging station for anything else?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Okay.
I would believe that it would be for us because we would be applying for it, but I don't think we have an obligation to offer it up.
Would it be inside the gates too?
It would be inside the gate. It would be only, I will tell you that our vision is that it would be only for us. I don't know if the grant would allow it to be only for us. We would have to find out. That's a great point. That's a great question. We are planning on putting this behind the gates though, so this isn't only going to be for us.
So no gated 57.
Oh, that's true.
It'll be locked off.
Well,
I was gonna say, Kirkland has charging stations that are exclusive to fire department, and then there are also some out front that are available to the public. At 3 of our stations, I think. Okay. Does Shoreline currently have any hybrid, plug-in hybrid or EV staff vehicles, or?
We have hybrids. We don't have any, I don't think, we don't have any plugins. Yeah, not yet. We have hybrids though.
Okay, so do you plan to move in that direction soon? Like the next staff vehicles, are those slated to be EVs?
That is something that we're looking at, yeah.
But no current plans?
We didn't have any staff vehicles from the Shoreline side slated for this year, but we did have a couple from the North Shore side. So that's now included in this budget. It's
Are they gonna be EV or?
I don't know what the vehicles. Were we looking at Explorers or do you know?
The challenge has been that
It's the first
the
page.
electric vehicles are a higher price point than what the hybrids are. So, and we haven't had the infrastructure to support the EV vehicles right now anyways. So, I mean, if we're able to move forward with chargers, then we have an opportunity for the EV vehicles, but that comes with a higher price tag than what we can get on the state bid for the hybrid, which is still an improvement over the all gas engine, as far as the green initiative. But there's a cost to certain things, right? So are we okay spending the money to meet some of those emissions?
That'd be a good question because we are now targeting a couple of staff members on that first page. That was something that was in the North Shore budget, but not in the Shoreline budget for this year.
But the ones that are in the budget here, we are trying to get the hybrid ones as they move up.
We had talked about, especially, like, for example, the fire marshal office staff vehicles who were just basically driving around the city, that would probably be a good vehicle to use as just a straight electric vehicle. But this number might not be okay.
No, I'm fully in favor of moving in this direction. I'm just curious about the timing of it, and does it make sense to lay out $150,000? We don't have any vehicles that will be able to use it, and we have no plans for vehicles that will be able to use it. How many years down the road are we talking about vehicles that will be using this infrastructure? And will the infrastructure be out of date by the time that we get those vehicles?
So it's 75,000 that we're looking at.
50% of that, right? Those another 75 from the consortium.
That's half.
75,000 for putting 3 stations in, 25 of these. We're hoping to get half of it back from Seattle City Light.
Okay.
So 37. But we should be planning on 75 just in case we don't get the grant.
Yeah.
But to your point, these would be more for our employees' use. It could be used for staff vehicles, depending on where we place them and for the future. If we're putting some of these vehicles at some point will likely be in the fire stations, which I would guess that we would have to add, circuits and chargers inside the stations as well. Obviously, that's down the road, a little bit. So this would be mostly for staff vehicles, but it'd also be for employees as well.
That debit. We use for?
You mean as far as them being able to use it? Yes, as long as we did vet this out some years ago. When we were building 63, we were, okay, is that? I'll try and be short on this because it was a pretty complicated, question. It's like, if we're offering electric vehicle charging for people that have electric vehicles, is that being inconsistent with not giving some kind of incentive or benefit to the people that are driving gas vehicles? And there's differences in overall benefits that we are now offering to employees. And the answer that we got back at that time, this is quite a few years ago now, was that we're fine as long as we identify what we're doing and not be purposeful, trying to be discriminatory or something like that. It might be worth revisiting again. Well, you might recall at one point I actually had it in policy, or it was a policy, or I think it was a policy, not the contract of actually charging people that had EVs when they came to the station. There'd be like a month. I wasn't going to charge like on hourly or daily or anything like that. I was just going to say monthly. You get a $25, I don't know, whatever it was, $25 payroll deduction if you drove an EV and plugged in, to counter exactly what we were talking about. And it became very complicated. And then I looked for a legal, review of this, and they said, well, as long as you identify this as, it's a benefit to anybody that wants to use it, whether you choose to use it or not.
Okay. I just want to make sure that looked up.
Yeah. But you do have a good point of like, what is our commitment to going green? This is a big topic right now, especially with Redmond, Bellevue, and Seattle all getting electric fire engines as well. Of where is the industry going? I believe that we will see electric aid cars here not too far into the future. And I do believe that we are going to have to do, either hybrids and or electric vehicles in our staff vehicles and start switching over. We won't have that choice. So at some point, it will make sense for us to do fully electric vehicles. But that's a conversation that Chief Oakstein and I probably have to have for budgeting and so forth. If we were to trigger electric vehicles only for these, I'm not sure what our overall budget is, but this is our capital budget, so this has a lot more flexibility with what if we run over or run short, there's definitely some more, options for us.
Is there an annual opportunity?
For the city light
for the city
grant, do you know anything more about this grant?
Some of it.
This just popped up over the last, week, so,
So it's
I don't have a lot of.
unlikely it's the only one ever. We waited, I guess. Or-
We could wait and roll the dice. I don't know, with the way things are going, it seems like grant, with the economy and the way the feds are, not to get political, but seems like there's not gonna be very much, money being pushed out from, at least from the federal level to the state, or I don't know if the state is helping this, or if this is just completely a city light, grant opportunity. I know they're the ones that are, giving the grant opportunity, but they might be getting funds themselves from the state or feds. I'm not sure. We do not have to do this. It's just an opportunity.
Well, if we did, so there would be EV stations outside the gate and EV station inside the gate.
This would be inside the gate for this project.
Only?
Yes. Except for at 57, because 57 doesn't have a gate. Doesn't have security.
Chief, I think I would like a little more information about the grant. I'm certainly not opposed, but I would want to know if they're expecting us to make public use of any of them. I guess I would just like a little more information about the grant before I would become committing.
We can certainly, that shouldn't be hard to get that information. And I can just leave this as still a question mark. Is there any,
I'm with Lisa.
is there any concern with the upping the refrigerator project and the dump trailer? Okay.
Refrigerator project for sure.
Trailer. So we'll move forward with those two, and then I'll get the answers on the grant, and then we can make a final decision on the 15th for that part.
You didn't get insurance, you get 50%.
Yeah, I don't know how long the funds, I don't even know how much funds there are available.
I did the same thing, they said, no funds run out, but they didn't bother to say, put that fund.
Well, one of the things that we could do too is like we could budget the 75,000, and if we don't get the grant, we don't do it. And roll the dice that maybe there in the future there would be another grant. This is a want, not a need, for 2025.
So are we applying for the grant?
Not until, well,
I mean, we should jump on applying for it, then we.
Yeah.
I'm happy to regroup and get a lot more information, so we have everybody on the full picture.
Okay.
And so I think that's probably the appropriate way.
okay, sweet. It's only a couple more weeks. Let's we'll work on the other. We'll get on the others. Do the other two, but we'll get more information on that.
Hey, Chief,
Yes.
you mentioned that this is a big topic, the whole kind of like going green, moving to electric, etc. I just want to add a note that I'd like to be looked in on the discussion as we have that larger conversation.
Okay. This will be part of our annually as we look at apparatus and all that, and looking at replacements. But even sooner than that, with the budget now that we're looking at for 2025, we'll need to have that conversation here pretty quick. So I'll loop you in. Or actually, Chief Hochstein will loop you in.
Okay, thank you.
We've got projected agenda, and we've already moved a couple dates around. We need to do anything else with that?
I think we're good, but as it was pointed out earlier, we do have a July 3rd conflict at some point, but we can wait until later this month or even June, to address that, and maybe that would be commensurate with depending on what kind of workloads and stuff are going on.
All right, to be revisited. All right, it is 6:30. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Before we adjourn, if I may,
I will be reaching out to the North Shore Board of Commissioners to basically just introduce myself, and then also potentially if we can connect and in the near future to have Board of Commissioners orientation / workshop eventually. And I will be providing you with that information in the next week sometime. Come up with a couple of dates that we can get together in 45 minutes or so. That workshop.
Thank you very much. This is a lot to work through, and aside from my screw up with the missing the resolutions, thank you very much.
Who seconded to close?
Oh, do
I'll
we have a
second.
second?
Sorry.
I'll second.
6:31. All right, done.